Imagine trekking through the mist-shrouded Appalachian Mountains in 1898, where the ancient peaks hold secrets darker than the deepest hollows. 35 men, loggers, travelers, miners have vanished without a trace, lured by whispers on the wind to the Harlan sisters' remote cabin. What awaited them in that hidden breeding den? A cellar of unspeakable horrors, twisted rituals, and a family curse that still echoes today. This is the unsolved true crime horror of the Harlan sisters, a tale of abduction, madness, and mountain malevolence that rivals the Bell Witch and Brown Mountain Lights. Stay with me as we uncover the chilling details if you dare. In the late 1890s, the Appalachian Mountains were a wild frontier, stretching from the foggy Ozarks to the rugged Blue Ridge. Economic booms drew men from across the USA, and even UK immigrants, seeking fortune in timber and coal. But beneath the promise lay dangers, treacherous trails, wild beasts, and whispers of ancient folklore. The Harlan sisters, Eliza, aged 42, and her younger sibling, Martha, 38, lived in Whispering Hollow, a secluded valley in western North Carolina. Descended from Scottish settlers who fled the Old World's witch hunts, the sisters were reclusive, known only for their herbal remedies sold at distant markets. Local legends spoke of the hollow as cursed, a place where the veil between worlds thinned. Travelers reported eerie lights dancing on ridges, akin to the Brown Mountain Lights, guiding the lost or leading them astray. In 1897, the first disappearances began. Jacob Thorne, a 28-year-old logger from Tennessee, vanished after boasting in a tavern about heading to Whispering Hollow for easy pickings in untapped forests. His horse returned riderless, saddlebags untouched. As word spread, more men followed. Elijah Grant, a miner from Kentucky, wrote in his last letter home, "The mountains call with a woman's voice, sweet as honey, promising riches and rest." He was never seen again. By mid-1898, 5 men had gone missing, all last spotted near the Harlan cabin. Sheriffs dismissed it as accidents, falls into ravines or bear attacks, but whispers grew of the sisters' involvement. Eliza the elder was tall and gaunt, with piercing green eyes that seemed to see through souls. Martha, shorter and more voluptuous, had a laugh that carried on the wind like a siren song. They claimed to be healers, brewing potions from mountain herbs, but rumors hinted at darker arts, fertility rites passed down from pagan ancestors, twisted into something monstrous. One survivor, old trapper Amos Blackwood, stumbled into town raving about the breeding cellar. He spoke of being invited to the cabin for shelter, only to hear screams from below ground. "They want strong blood," he muttered before dying of unexplained fever. His tale ignited fear, but no evidence surfaced. The sisters denied everything, smiling innocently at inquisitive visitors. As autumn 1898 approached, the vanishings escalated. 7 more men disappeared in September alone, all robust laborers in their primes. Patterns emerged. Each was alone, drawn by reports of hidden gold in the hollow or promises of work from elusive notes found on trails. One such note, recovered later, read, "Come to the sisters' hearth for warmth and wealth beyond dreams." Townsfolk formed search parties, but the mountains thwarted them, sudden fogs, rock slides, and that incessant whispering wind. One party found a shallow grave with bones gnawed clean, but no identification. Was it human? Experts disagreed, fueling the horror. The horror deepened when a young deputy, Samuel Reed, investigated undercover. Posing as a drifter, he approached the cabin. Eliza greeted him with herbal tea that made his head swim. "The mountains need new life," she murmured. That night, he awoke to Martha's hand on his shoulder, guiding him toward stone steps descending into darkness. He fled, but not before glimpsing iron chains and shadowed forms in the cellar. Reed's report to the sheriff detailed the sisters' breeding den, a ritualistic chamber where men were imprisoned, forced into unholy unions to renew the bloodline cursed by ancestral sins. But without proof, authorities hesitated. Meanwhile, the missing tally rose to 15. Families of the vanished pleaded for justice. One widow, Mary Thorne, Jacob's wife, traveled from Tennessee confronting the sisters. "Give me back my husband," she screamed. Eliza's response chilled her. "He's serving a greater purpose now, in the earth's womb." As winter loomed, the mountains grew silent, but the terror was just beginning. Whispers evolved into visions. Men seeing spectral women on ridges, beckoning with promises of pleasure and power. The Harlan curse, rooted in 18th century folklore of moon-eyed people and witch hollows, seemed alive. By year's end, 20 men were gone. The USA press picked up the story, dubbing it the Appalachian Vanishings. UK papers echoed it, drawing thrill-seekers who became victims themselves. The sisters remained untouched, their cabin a fortress of secrets. The lure wasn't just whispers, it was a calculated trap. Eliza and Martha used their herbal knowledge to spike wells and streams with hallucinogens, making travelers susceptible to suggestions. One victim, before vanishing, scrawled on a tree, "Beware the sweet scent on the breeze." Botanists later identified it as a rare mountain flower, deadly in high doses, inducing obedience. Search parties uncovered more clues. Abandoned campsites with uneaten food, as if the men left in a trance. A journal from a missing UK prospector described dreams of beautiful women calling from the mist, leading him deeper into the hollow. The sisters' isolation bred suspicion. Neighbors recalled strange deliveries, crates of chains and tools under cover of night. One blacksmith confessed forging custom manacles for them, paid in gold nuggets that vanished like smoke when examined. As the Vanishings hit 25 by early 1899, panic spread to nearby towns. Vigilantes gathered, torches in hand, but a freak blizzard buried their path, claiming 2 lives. Was it coincidence or curse? Locals believed the latter, tying it to Cherokee warnings of earth spirits angered by intruders. Eliza's diary, glimpsed by a brief intruder, hinted at motive. Our line fades. The mountains demand tribute. Strong seed for strong heirs. It spoke of failed pregnancies, driving the sisters to desperation. The deputy Reed, haunted by his escape, rallied a posse. They approached at dawn but found the cabin empty, save for a steaming pot of tea. As they sipped, foolishly, visions assaulted them. Grotesque births in the cellar, men writhing in agony. Only Reed survived, babbling of the den's guardian, shadowy beasts patrolling the tunnels. Dismissed as madness, his words fueled legends. The mountains, ancient and unforgiving, seemed to aid the sisters. Rock formations resembled watchful faces, and echoes mimicked cries for help, luring rescuers astray. By spring, the count was 28. A federal marshal arrived from Washington, skeptical of superstitious nonsense. He vanished too, his badge found dangling from a branch etched with runes. Families offered rewards, drawing bounty hunters. One, a hardened veteran, lasted longest, 3 days, before his screams echoed through the hollow. The lure's genius lay in personalization. Whispers tailored to desires, wealth for the poor, love for the lonely. It was psychological warfare, rooted in folklore but executed with criminal precision. As Part 1 concludes, the stage is set for deeper horrors. The Vanishings were no accident. They were a harvest. As 1899 dawned, Whispering Hollow lived up to its name. The wind carried voices, soft, feminine pleas that drove men mad. Thomas Hale, a British immigrant seeking coal claims, journaled, "The whispers promise eternal youth, but they reek of decay." He vanished days later. The Harlan sisters' backstory emerged through dug-up records. Their great-grandmother, accused of witchcraft in Scotland, fled to the colonies in 1750. She settled in the hollow, birthing daughters, who continued the rite, a breeding ritual to appease mountain spirits, blending Celtic paganism with native Cherokee lore of underground dwellers. Eliza and Martha, childless themselves, allegedly twisted this into crime, luring men with enchanted herbs, imprisoning them in the cellar for forced propagation. Offspring? Rumors whispered of deformed children hidden in caves or worse, sacrificed. 10 more disappearances in spring. 1899 victims included a group of 3 loggers who camped nearby. Their tent was found shredded with claw marks not matching any beast. 1 boot remained bloodied. A brave reporter from Charlotte, Elias Crow, infiltrated. He befriended the sisters, noting their unnatural youthfulness. "Eliza's skin is like porcelain, untouched by time," he wrote. Over dinner, Martha confessed obliquely, "The mountains hunger for seed. We provide." Crow sneaked into the cellar at midnight. What he saw haunted his unpublished notes. Iron cages holding emaciated men, some begging for death, others raving about the birthing. Chains rattled, and a foul stench of rot and birth filled the air. He escaped, but the sisters pursued, their forms shifting in the moonlight like wraiths. Crow made it to town but died mysteriously. Poisoned, some said. The horror peaked in summer. 5 travelers from Virginia vanished en masse after a welcoming feast at the cabin. Searchers found only a blood-stained quilt embroidered with arcane symbols. Townsfolk turned to superstition, hanging wards and avoiding the hollow. But the whispers spread, luring even locals. One farmer, driven insane, confessed to aiding the sisters before hanging himself. By fall, the count hit 30. Federal agents arrived, but storms isolated the area. One agent, Harlan named ironically, reported unnatural fog blocking paths. Survivors' tales trickled. A escaped man, half mad, spoke of the sisters' touch turning blood to fire. He died soon after. The mountains seemed complicit, with rockfalls burying evidence. Folklore experts linked it to public domain tales of spearfinger witches, preying on the vital. As winter set in, the final 5 vanished, including a priest sent to exorcise. His Bible was found torn, pages whispering on the wind. The whispers weren't mere wind. Acoustic anomalies in the hollow amplified sounds, creating illusions. Geologists noted unique cave systems funneling air-like organs. But locals knew better. It was sorcery. One whisper victim, before disappearing, recorded the voices on a primitive phonograph. The cylinder, later found, played back eerie coos. Come, beloved, to our embrace. The sisters' rites involved phases: lure, capture, conditioning. Herbs dulled resistance, while incantations broke wills. Victims described vivid hallucinations of paradise turning to nightmare. A hidden ledger, glimpsed by Crow, listed victims by vitality score, strength, health, lineage. It was methodical madness, a breeding program for the cursed. Escaped prisoners spoke of the nursery, a subchamber where failed births were disposed, bones ground into fertilizer for the sisters' garden. Summer's group vanishing revealed coordination. The sisters hosted gatherings, drugging food with aphrodisiacs laced with paralytics. Guests awoke chained below. The farmer's confession detailed his role: delivering supplies, silencing witnesses. Guilt consumed him, leading to suicide. Or was it murder disguised? Federal intervention failed due to corruption. One agent accepted bribes, vanishing suspiciously. Storms weren't natural. Witnesses saw Eliza chanting on ridges, summoning gales. The escaped man's blood to fire referred to venoms inducing fever, weakening bodies for rituals. Autopsies on rare bodies showed internal burns. Spearfinger parallels, Cherokee myth of a hag stealing livers. Sisters allegedly harvested organs for potions. The priest's fate sealed the supernatural aura. His torn Bible pages formed runes when reassembled, cursing readers with nightmares. As whispers intensified, wildlife fled the hollow, leaving silence broken only by voices. Birds mimicked calls, spreading the lure. The counts climbed to 35, marked a ritual completion. Numerology in occult texts tied 35 to renewal cycles. Deep beneath the Harlan cabin lay the breeding den, a labyrinth of tunnels carved by ancient waters expanded by the sisters, walls etched with symbols from lost grimoires, blending European occult with Appalachian mysticism. Inside, the horror unfolded. Men were drugged with potions from deadly nightshade and mandrake, rendering them pliable. The rite involved forced unions, aiming to birth perfect heirs to break the family curse of infertility. But failures mounted: mutated births, stillborns buried in shallow graves. Surviving children, hidden, perhaps the source of Hollow's wild folk sightings. One victim's diary, smuggled out, detailed the torment. Days blur in darkness. The sisters visit, their eyes hungry. They speak of renewing the earth, but it's madness. Escapes were rare. One man clawed through earth, emerging miles away, raving about underground rivers of blood. Investigators finally raided in late 1899. They found the cellar empty, but for bones, 35 skulls, some fresh. Chains bore teeth marks, walls scratched with pleas. The sisters vanished, leaving a note. The mountains claim their due. Seek no more. Theories abounded. Serial killers? Cult leaders? Or supernatural entities like the moon-eyed people of Cherokee lore? Modern echoes persist, similar vanishings and missing. 411 cases mirror the patterns. Forensic analysis of bones revealed anomalies, elongated limbs, as if bred for strength. But science failed to explain. Families mourned, erecting memorials. The cabin burned mysteriously, but whispers remain. In UK archives, immigrant letters echo the terror. warning kin away. The curse lingers with hikers reporting voices today. The cellar's layout was ingenious. Trapdoors from the cabin led to holding cells, then deeper breeding chambers. Ventilation shafts carried whispers upward, luring more. Potions recipes pieced from herbal fragments, mixed hallucinogens with fertility drugs, a deadly cocktail ensuring compliance and conception. Mutated birth stemmed from inbreeding or toxins. Folklore called them changelings and swapped by fairies. Here they were real, abandoned in woods to fend as ferals. The diary's author, unidentified, described sensory deprivation, blindfolded, fed minimally, broken psychologically before rituals. The clawed escapee mapped tunnels crudely, miles long, connecting to natural caves, allowing sisters to evade capture. Raid details. Posse stormed at midnight, torches revealing horrors. Skulls arranged in patterns, occult mandalas. Air thick with decay, causing hallucinations even then. The notes ink analyzed as blood-based from victims. Its curse? Readers suffered misfortunes, accidents, illnesses. Theories evolved. Sisters as alchemists seeking immortality through offspring essence, or vessels for ancient spirits demanding tribute. Missing 411 connections, cluster disappearances, no traces, berry-picking lures, parallels to whispers. Bone anomalies suggested genetic experiments predating modern science. Were sisters ahead of time or aided by forbidden knowledge? Memorials became pilgrimage sites where visions occur. One widow claimed seeing her husband begging release. UK letters preserved in museums detail cursed kin avoiding America, fearing the call. Today's reports, audio recordings capture whispers, analyzed as human voices defying explanation. The cellar's collapse post-raid buried secrets, but ground-penetrating radar shows voids, unexplored terrors. As news spread, copycat fears arose. Other hollows reported whispers, but none matched Harlan's scale. A posse hunted the sisters, tracking to caves. Inside, altars with fresh offerings, hearts perhaps human. One tracker vanished mid-hunt, his screams echoing. Surviving sisters' kin denied involvement, but blood ties hinted at wider cult. Historical ties. 18th century disappearances linked to settler witches. By 1900, official count 35 men, all prime ages 20-40. Theories breeding for army against spirits? Or simple sadism? A leaked coroner's report. Victims drained of vitality, organs harvested. Modern criminologists compare to serial killers like Belle Gunnis, but with supernatural twist. UK true crime enthusiasts linked to Jack the Ripper era occult. The hollow now abandoned, but drones capture odd lights. Echoes in folklore. Public domain tales of Spearfinger devouring livers, parallel organ theft. Unsolved, the case faded but not forgotten. Copycats emerged. Isolated reports of similar lures in adjacent states. Women mimicking whispers. But lacking the Harlan touch, they failed. Posse's cave raid uncovered grim altars. Stone slabs stained red, surrounded by candles of human tallow. Offerings included trinkets from victims, watches, rings. The vanished tracker's gear found arranged mockingly as if inviting pursuit. Kin investigations revealed distant relatives practicing old ways. Herbalism veiling rituals. One cousin confessed whispers in dreams urging continuation. 18th century links. Colonial records of witch covens in mountains. Vanishing men for blood renewal. 1900 census omitted the hollow as if erased. Victims' ages targeted peak fertility, supporting breeding theory. Theories delved deeper. Army for apocalyptic war against modernity? Or sadistic pleasure in power? Coroner's leak detailed exsanguination, blood drained via incisions, used in potions or baths for youth. Comparisons to Gunnis, luring via ads, but Harlan's used nature's veil. Supernatural element sets apart, no bodies, only bones. UK links. Ripper's surgical precision mirrors organ harvest. Occult societies speculated connections via immigrant networks. Drones today show thermal anomalies. Warm spots under earth, suggesting active tunnels. Spearfinger's liver theft. Sisters' targeted hearts. Symbols of vitality in Celtic lore. Fading case buried in archives revived by podcasters tying to modern mysteries. Escalation's peak. Final vanishings included influencers of the era, reporters, officials, and silencing inquiries. Today the Harlan mystery endures in Appalachian lore. Hikers on the trail avoid Whispering Hollow, reporting chills and voices. Similar cases, 20th century vanishings in national parks echo patterns. Theories persist. Supernatural breeding to repopulate ancient races. or human trafficking disguised as myth. Descendants? Rumors of Harlan bloodlines in remote communities. For true crime fans, this rivals Ted Bundy in scope, but with horror flair. What if the sisters live on immortal through rites? Visit at your peril, the mountains remember. Lore evolution. Stories morphed into campfire tales. Warning of whisper witches. Park vanishings, clusters without traces. Berries or lights luring, mirroring methods. Theories expand. Breeding for hybrid beings blending human and spirit. Or cover for slavery ring. Descendant sightings, feral people in woods. With Harlan features, pale skin, green eyes. Rivalry to Bundy. Serial scale but communal fear amplifies horror. Immortality speculation. Potions granting longevity. Sightings of elderly women matching descriptions. Peril warning. Modern explorers equipped with recorders, capturing EVP's electronic voice phenomena, pleading help or laughing. Echoes in media. Books, films inspired like The Hills Have Eyes parallels. Unsolved status fuels conspiracies. Government cover-up protecting occult secrets. Remote communities shun outsiders. Rituals whispered behind closed doors. True crime podcasts dissect. Interviewing survivors. Descendants with fragmented memories. The mountain's memory. Seismic activity reveals new caves. Bones surfacing after rains. Final thought, the shadows linger, waiting for new lures.